Hey there everyone, it's your boy B3 back with another kicking graphic novel review. Today we are doing Red Hood and the Outlaws Volume 1 Redemption from the New 52. Let me read the back of the book real quick for you. Against the law and against the world. Red Hood, former Robin, resurrected and looking for a reason to live again. Starfire, alien princess, confounding her teammates with the mystery of her own memories. Arsenal, former sidekick who hit rock bottom and is still trying to bounce back. These three deeply damaged heroes have found refuge in their unlikely partnership, but can they pull together enough to save the world? A war has begun between the mystic all-caste that trained Red Hood and the ancient evil of the Untitled. With Red Hood, Arsenal, and Starfire caught squarely in the middle, now the Outlaws will have to battle reanimated warriors, genetically enhanced xenophobes, and unkillable assassins in order to make sense of the battle they've found themselves in. It collects issues 1 through 7, runs about $14.99 in the US, and is done by Scott Lobdell and Kenneth Rocafort. Okay, so it's bad. Sorry, it's bad. I think some of their anti-heroics are enjoyable. I don't really have any problem with that. But Red Hood and Arsenal, they're just kind of fuckboys. Does that make sense? They're just like flirting with and having sex with as many like women as possible. It feels like, and it's always implied that like they would have sex with any woman they came in contact with, and that every woman that comes in contact with them wants to have sex with them, especially Red Hood. And then you get the Starfire, and now they have this thing with Starfire in this book where it's like she doesn't have long-term memories, so her species fully lives in the moment, which would be a cool concept if that was just, I don't know. First off, they don't keep it consistent, because they say that she doesn't care about the past, and she like can't even remember people's names to that point that she doesn't care about the past. But then also, like, the reason she fights and stuff is because of her trauma, because she was sold into slavery by her sister, and so she hates armies. That's one of her things, is that she hates armies. And that's mentioned very early in this book, but it's like, wait though, that's stuff that happened when she was a child, but they said she doesn't really have long-term memory. So, which is it? Is she doing this because of trauma, or is she doing it because she's living in the moment? They're trying to have both, and it's not possible to have both. And then there's one part where there's this like, he's a child, but he's not a child, he's thousands of years old, and like in order to let them into this area, he has to take each of their most treasured memories, and hers is from when she was a child. So she has a treasured long-term memory that she reflects on a lot. And Starfire is also kind of racist. She can't tell humans apart. That's racist. If I said that about people, I would be labeled racist. So Starfire is racist. That's pretty insane right off the bat. And also, I feel like she's just maybe Scott Lobdell's fantasy or something. Like, I think he might be self-inserting as Red Hood or something, because like, Red Hood in this book is just getting every girl's number. Every woman wants to smash him. He sits down at a bar and a woman like immediately stops talking to her boyfriend, starts talking to him. He's on a plane and the flight attendant is just gives him her number. Like, and then we find out that like everyone from his past he's had sex with. He and Roy both have sex with Starfire. And look, here's the thing. If Starfire wants to just have casual sex with people, that's fine. Nobody cares. But in this book, it's like Starfire pretty much never wears any real clothing. And I know that's kind of just an issue with female characters in comics. They're always drawn without clothing, you know. Comics, for the most part, are big male fantasy with big buff boys and scantily clad women. It's true. But it's like far past what I usually see in comics. Like, I'm willing to ignore a lot for a good story, but this story's also not good. So, Starfire's like never has clothes on. She's hypocritical on so many accounts. Like, she says it's casual sex and that it doesn't matter, so she sleeps with both guys. But then Roy Harper tries to bring up the fact that she slept with both of them to clear the air, and then suddenly she cares about it. But she didn't care about it before. Before, she said sex was nothing to her species. Like, it was just for fun. There was no motion attached to it. But we've also seen that, like, her relationship with Dick Grayson was confirmed in this. So there is, like, some kind of... She can have those connections. Right? It's so odd. And then Roy Harper brings it up, and if it was nothing to her, she wouldn't have reacted like that. So is she lying? Is it bad writing? I know the answer. It's the second one. It's bad writing. And the story is, it's mostly about Red Hood. There's this, like, ancient mystical assassin organization that trained him after he was brought back to life via Superboy Prime's punch, altering reality, and also Talia dropping him in the Lazarus pit. And this assassin organization had, like, a truce with these evil beings, but, like, the beings kill off his assassin friends, so it's all about him getting justice and or vengeance. They're not super clear on which one it is. They kind of go back and forth. He calls it vengeance first, and then he's told not to do it for vengeance, but then he still does it, and it doesn't really seem to be vengeance, you know? I kind of like the idea of Killer Croc. Actually, I want to say, just before I move on from their characters, Roy Harper is totally fine. I have no issue with Roy Harper's character in this book. I do a little bit with Red Hood, and I do a lot with Starfire. Roy Harper, totally fine. He's a little cliche, but, like, totally fine. Cliches exist because people like them, right? Oh, except the "he's right behind me, isn't he" cliche, which is in this book, and did make me roll my eyes. But anyway, I feel like Lobdell, like, sees himself kind of as Jason or something, because he has just Jason just getting mad tang the whole time. And yeah, I know that's a sexist phrase, sue me. It's a sexist book. But then, like, Starfire is a woman who won't remember bad things you do to her. She doesn't want commitment. She'll sleep with you and doesn't care if you sleep with anyone else. It's like a misogynist's dream. So I mean, Starfire could have been so much more to this team. She's the powerhouse, clearly. But also, like, she could have been the heart of the team. Which I guess Roy is, and he plays that part well. But she could have really been the heart of the team. She could have been the conscience of the team. But she's more bloodthirsty than the other two combined. It's wild. I've never seen Starfire like this before. And I do want to talk about their character designs. Red Hood's outfit slaps. It really does. Having the bat on his chest, I think, works. I just hate the weird little mouth on his helmet. I hate the weird little mouth. Make it smooth, please. And they did. They did go back to smooth. But I hate that. Starfire's outfit, you know, she's wearing barely anything. It's like less than a bikini almost. She's got thigh-high boots, a bikini, and some shoulder pads, and maybe some arm bracers. That's like it. And it's armor. And the thing is, everyone in the New 52 was pretty much given armor. That's fine. You know, it makes a lot of sense for Roy and Red Hood, of course. And I guess it still makes sense for Corey, but like, what's the point in armor when it covers your nipples and your crotch and nothing else? What is this, an RPG? I mean, Lord. And she's just constantly drawn in sexual clothless poses, constantly showing her like in her underwear and in bikinis, and they put all these little outfits on her and make her dance around. And there's like even parts where like whenever she goes anywhere, everyone's always staring at her. There's one part where they have like a child like on the verge of puberty taking pictures of her on the beach and sharing them online, which is already gross, but it's also like a major plot point for the B plot, the pointless B plot, because it's pretty much just Red Hood and the others are almost sidekicks. It's all about Red Hood. And, you know, they'll probably get more equal attention down the line. And there is one story where this, like, rich guy's parents are killed by, like, a crashing Tamaranian ship. And so he pledges his life to being a xenophobe. And he turns himself into this. It's kind of actually a really cool look. He was a very simple villain. And very short-lived. But he basically looks like Killer Croc as a bat. It's pretty sick. His name's Crux. He's got a pretty sick design. He looks like Killer Croc with big old bat ears and bat wings. And it's sick. He looks really cool. But he's very... All the villains in this book seem to be pretty... You know? And I guess that's just, you know, volume 1. I don't know. This could get better. I think this book ran for a while, but just woof. Honestly, just woof. And that whole B plot was literally just to keep Corey away from the action so that Red Hood could do it all himself. Because she could just absolutely trounce the alien. She could just blow them into smithereens. So they needed her distracted, and that's the only reason Crux was in it, to keep her from actually fighting. And then Roy has to go save her. She can't even do it. And Crux tricks her into flying into this giant Stargate-looking thing. If she would have looked up even once during their fight, she would have seen it from quite a formidable distance. It's insane. Sorry, it's just such a... they should have just made a Red Hood book, honestly. I like Red Hood being on a team because the Rebirth Red Hood in the Outlaws, I love that book. I've read most of that run, and I really liked it. But this is bad. They're just jerking off Red Hood, and then they threw a couple other characters in there. Here's a couple other too. Roy makes sense, Starfire doesn't, so let's just completely rewrite her in a way that everybody's going to hate. Except for, you know, lonely guys that want to jerk it to her because they were watching Teen Titans when they hit puberty. I don't know, man. But Roy is fine. Oh, and, you know, also one thing about Starfire's design that I really like is how her hair kind of trails off into flames. I think that's really, really cool. And I think it's a great effect, especially when she's flying. Anyways, last design, Roy Harper. I think he's my favorite, clearly. I think he's got a good look. I think the tattoos help him stand out just among heroes in general. You never really see that many heroes with tattoos, like, ever. Especially not several, like he has. I think the trucker caps that he wears kind of humanizes him. Just makes him feel more like an everyman. And, yeah, he's still struggling with addiction in this book, which is... for the longest time been one of the most interesting things about his character, as long as it's done right and not in a way that's like super offensive or anything. And it shows like Killer Croc as his sponsor, which I knew was a thing. And I've heard a lot of people say they don't like that. I've heard a lot of people say they do like that. I do like it. We've seen Killer Croc do stuff like that before. It's not like it's super out of character for Killer Croc, because Killer Croc We've seen Killer Croc, like, take care of the homeless and of, like, orphans and stuff. We've seen him do that. He has a whole society in the sewers where he takes care of these people. We've seen that in main continuity many times. If you want an example, check out Forever Evil Arkham War. I think we've reviewed that. And I think that's what it's called. Trying to remember off the top of my head. He does it in that. Because he's like given a skyscraper in Gotham and he brings his people up out of the sewers. And like the children all see him as a hero. It's very interesting. He's actually legitimately trying to take care of people in that book. So it makes sense here. You know? But yeah, you know, they fight these cliche evil organizations, and then there's a very cliche twist at the end that isn't super hard to see coming once he is actually fighting the Untitled. It's just... a lot of it's really predictable. It's a simple story. Once again, it is just the beginning of the run, so I'm not too crazy about a simple story or simple villains. It's fine, but it takes it pretty far. But I do want to mention that the art is good. It's incredibly well done. The character designs are mostly great. And I do want to say that there was one part in here, when they took the memories, they showed us the memories. It's kind of a little way of doing backstory. A lot of this writing was bad and rushed and stupid. Because like there's one point where Starfire's powers get taken away, and then like a few pages later she just has them back unceremoniously, and it wasn't an issue at all. She just like a few minutes later got him back. It was really stupid. Terrible, lazy writing. Awful. It just goes to prove that that B-plot was only to keep her out of the action so that Red Hood could have all the glory in the main story. Pointless. Have them all do it together. That's the point of a team book. That they all do it together. If they wanted a Red Hood book, they should have just made a Red Hood book. We know it's possible. They've done it before. Ugh, I'm angry. Anyway, there was one part I really liked. When they had to put memories up for Collateral, they each had to put up their most treasured memory. And for two of them, they were kind of fucked memories. Like Starfire's is her killing a guard when she's a child. And Roy's is a bit better. It's when he's at his lowest and Killer Croc kind of comes to his aid. That one's okay. And then Jason's is one where he had the flu and he couldn't go out patrolling with Batman, and Batman decided to stay in with him and they'd watch a movie together. And that was really sweet. I watched that and I was like, oh, it wasn't all bad. But Jason never got that memory back, which was like, uh-oh, poor guy. Anyways, I think that's it. Yeah, that's most of it for me. So that's Red Hood and the Outlaws, Volume 1 Redemption from the New 52 by Scott Lobdell and Keith Rockefort. I didn't like it, and I will probably not be reviewing Volume 2. I don't really see the point in spending money on Volume 2 unless I can get it for like a huge deal, because I got this volume for $2.99, physical copy. That's a pretty good deal, right? But that's it. Thank you once again, and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.